What's up everyone? For this restoration project, it's a big one. These are the 2009 Venom Dunks. It's a clean, simple colorway. Brand new, they can fetch a lot of money. As is right now, they're not really worth much. The uppers need a massive deep clean, re-dye, paint job. Everything is wrong with them. Brand new soles are also needed. The swooshes are completely deteriorating. They need to be replaced as well. We have a lot of work to do, but before we get to it, I want to give a big shout out to Millennial_Phoenician. He came by and donated them to me with the intent of me doing a restoration video. It's been a few months, but now it's time to get the job done. Let's get to work. First things first is deconstruction. I'm gonna get rid of the easy stuff first, like the laces and insoles, clean those up separately. Where it gets a little trickier is removing the swooshes on both sneakers and the old soles. We'll start with the soles once that stuff is out. All I gotta do with an X-Acto knife is cut all the stitching that's holding it together. The glue is fully dried out, so that shouldn't be an issue. Soles are off. Using the same tool, I gotta remove the swooshes on both sneakers. This time, I covered up the majority of it using some tape. I don't want the blade exposed while I'm removing the swoosh because it could potentially cause some damage to the upper. Shoes are fully deconstructed. For the soles, I'm gonna put these to the side. They're not good anymore. I am gonna be replacing these with some brand new ones. There's no more stars. There's barely any grip. These are trash. I also removed all 4 swooshes from the shoe. This is a weird nubuck material. It's really old to the point where it's cracking all around. I am gonna completely replace these swooshes, so these are trash as well. All that's left are the uppers, these bead insoles, the leather back tabs that go right on the back where the swooshes meet, and the laces. These shoes are filthy inside and out. First things first is to go next door, grab the compressor and blow off all the surface dust, debris on the insoles, insides, and the laces. These were disgusting. I should have worn a mask and a hazard suit. So much dust and debris came out of the sneaker, but it's gonna make it so much easier to clean up this sneaker. I'm gonna be using our Rejuvenator 8-ounce bottle solution, soft and medium bristle brush to do the job, shoe trees to help eliminate the creasing from the toe boxes. During this cleaning, I'm gonna clean up the uppers, the insoles, and the laces. I might have to put them in the washing machine. We'll find out. My only concern is the black suede. First things first, I'm gonna put the shoe trees inside the shoes, then grab our 8-ounce bottle solution and squirt 2 squirts inside our bowl of water. As always, I'm gonna start with the Soft Bristle Brush on the uppers, mainly because this brush creates the most suds, and the uppers contain a few different materials, such as mesh, leather, and suede. The Soft Bristle Brush served me well. I'm gonna put this away and move on to the medium bristle. Really what I'm gonna use this for, since the uppers already look good, is to take care of the bottom boards and these disgusting insoles. These things are super filthy. Luckily, the suede on the uppers didn't bleed, so all of this will be going in the washing machine. The best way to put the shoes inside the laundry machine is by putting the soles together facing opposite directions. Now usually I put 1, but these shoes are disgusting, so I'm gonna put 2. Shoes are fully dried. That deep clean really made a big difference all around the sneaker. All that dirty grime that was built up in the suede and the mesh tongues washed out nicely. The next step is to do a lot of prep work. On the bottom area, there's a lot of old glue that's got to get shaved off. In order for the new sole to bond onto the upper, we're gonna shave off all the old glue. Another thing I gotta do is remove the lasting board for a couple different reasons. For one, it's pretty trash. All those dirt stains did not come out. Second, I have to be able to put the upper on the sewing machine. By removing the lasting board, it allows me to sew on the swooshes directly onto the upper. So those are 2 reasons why this has to come off. These are trash, or replace them with some new ones. So I'm gonna do that on the second shoe and start shaving all the old glue off. Alright, so I was able to get the majority of the glue off using the blade. There's still some left. I'm going to use a Dremel for this part. Using a 60 grit sanding bit, I'm going around the entire upper underneath the glue line to shave off all the old glue. This is going to help for a couple different reasons. It'll shave off all the old glue, plus it's going to give me the best bond possible to the new sole. The trick is to stay underneath that glue line. You don't want to go above because that will damage the uppers and there's no covering that up. This is a really messy process. The suede material gets everywhere in the air. It's best to use a mask throughout this process so you're not breathing this stuff in. You also want to use a brush throughout this process so you're not shaving above that line. The leather on the toe box and the side panels are completely scratched up. There's a lot of rough areas, so for this I'm going to be using 400 grit and 1000 grit sandpaper to get it nice and smooth. The trick is to go back and forth until it's nice and smooth. So far I've done a lot of prep work on the uppers. These are looking really good. The leather is nice and smooth, but it still needs some paint. At the moment, I'm gonna take a break from these and move on to the soles. The original soles are completely cooked. They're dried out, they're yellowed, there's no grip to them at all. These are no good no more. So I bought some replacements. The pan of dung is today's donor. As you can see, they're basically perfect. Black sole, white midsole. The only difference is, if I'm nitpicking, is the Nike logo. On the original, it's slightly tilted, but I'm not complaining. As always, on the donor uppers, there's still some good parts that I can use for future projects, such as the laces, the insole, the tongues, the back tab. I'm gonna remove all that before I move on to the midsoles. Those parts are off, they're going straight to the boneyard. Next, using the same blade, I'm gonna cut the stitching from the inside to remove the stitching from the midsole. All right, let's finish the job. Next, I'm gonna grab some acetone, go outside, pour it inside the sneakers. After a few minutes, I'll put the steamer inside to finish melting the glue. The upper should come right off after that. Easy does it, we got the uppers off. Now we still need to do some prep work on the soles before we can apply some new glue. As you can see, there's a bunch of old glue and debris from the uppers. All of that's gotta come off. I'm gonna be using a steel drill bit. This is the best tool to use to remove the glue without damaging the rubber. I'm done with the soles, we'll come back to those later. Let's get on to the uppers now. Before I can move any further, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the stitching from the bottom of the sock liner. I gotta be able to lift it up, just so when I go and apply the new swooshes, when I stitch them on, the stitching doesn't show through the sock liner, but it's underneath it. Once the swooshes are sewn on, I'll close the sock liner back down, but first I gotta lift it up. Before I apply the new soles and swooshes, this is a perfect opportunity to take care of the uppers. The suede is extremely faded, so I'm gonna take care of that now. But first, I gotta do some taping. At the moment, everything's covered up but the faded black suede. To bring it back to its original color, I'm gonna be using Jacquard Dynaflow. This stuff is easy to use. For this application, I'm gonna be using the airbrush. You can also use a paintbrush, but in this case, it's a lot easier to do so. Once I spray it onto the suede, I'll be using a medium bristle brush to brush it into the material and to make sure it's evenly covered. I'm gonna repeat this process until it's back to its original color. Redye's fully complete. I'm really happy with this one. The black is back to black. It's buttery soft. Now this step is important. We gotta go outside and use our rejuvenated water and stain repellent. This is gonna protect it from bleeding and any spills when the shoes are finally worn. Now for the leather, I already did the prep work earlier in this video using the sandpaper. Now I'm gonna be using some Andres flat black paint with some angular brushes. like to use angular brushes for most of my projects that I hand paint. The corner of this brush allows me to get really close to the edge without getting any paint on any other materials. Uppers are looking really good. They really did a 180 compared to what they look like. The re-dye and the repaint made these look completely different. Once we get these onto the soles, it's gonna complete the look. I also got some brand new white leather swooshes. Shout out to my homie Jordan Diab. I thought I had some in the boneyard, but when I checked, there were actually some Jordan 1s, so those didn't work. It's good to have some great friends. Next, I had to lay down a bunch of glue. I gotta get everything ready for the re-glue. I'm also gonna be laying down glue on the swooshes and where they go, so I can lock them in place, so with the post-up machine, I can add some stitching. It's been about 20 minutes, the glue's cured. I'm gonna stick the swooshes onto the shoes, make sure they're properly placed. After that, I'm gonna go to the post bed and add some stitching. For the back tabs, I'll come back to that later. Now that the swooshes are glued onto the shoe, I'm going to be using some white thread with the post bed to lock them in. The key throughout this process is to make sure the sock liner is lifted up to make sure the stitching doesn't show up on the liner. Sewing looks really good, but I'm not done with the post bed yet. I still need to stick on the back tabs onto the shoes, then with some black thread, lock them in. Honestly, lifting up the sock liner before sewing on the swooshes was a great move. On the inside, you can't even tell it replaced the swooshes, it looks factory. Now I still gotta go in and close the sock liner back down. I'm gonna apply some bar super stick on the bottom area. Once it's closed down, I'm gonna go back to the post bed one more time, lay down a black stitch line on this panel across the swoosh on both sides on both sneakers. Glue's all cured, it's time to heat everything up. As always, I'm gonna start with the toe, then jump to the back and do the sides. I got some tape right on the toe cap and on the front of the sole to make sure everything lines up perfectly. The next morning, I let the shoe fully dry. I'm gonna give it a solid stress test now. I hope that's good. Last step you gotta do is apply some new lasting boards. Once again, these are the original ones. Absolutely disgusting. There's no way I could put these back into these sneakers, so I got a new one made. I'm gonna go ahead and slide this inside the shoe, then heat it up from the inside, press down on it, and it should be good to go. Final step before I can lace them up, I gotta reapply the stitch into the midsoles. To do this process, you need 2 pieces of thread, black for the outside, white for the inside. I'm gonna start by using the sewing gauze by sticking the black thread into the shoe, tying it to the white thread, and going from there. Restoration is officially complete. Let's lace them up. All right, YouTube, that's gonna bring us to an end on this day and night restoration on these Venom SB Dunks. This is one of those projects where I'm extremely satisfied with the results. They look almost brand new, complete 180 from what they look like. Let me remind you on how cooked these shoes were. They were almost unrecognizable. The age was really starting to show. The original owner of these must have done construction on them for years. The soles were completely dried out, extremely yellow. On the back, there was major heel drag and no stars. The swooshes were insane too. They're not even white no more, cracking material. All of this stuff got fully replaced with some brand new dunk soles, brand new swooshes from authentic Nike parts. Everything was needed on the shoe. It needed a major deep clean and set it out using Rejuvenator products. I gave this sneaker a full suede re-dye, full leather repaint, brand new swooshes, and brand new soles. Overall, this project took me over 30 hours to complete, and I had to invest some money into some brand new Panda Dunks. Honestly, you could probably go online and buy these brand new for a lot cheaper instead of paying somebody to do the full restoration and buying brand new Dunks like I did. The reason why I do this is to show you the different techniques and ways to bring back a sneaker, and the knowledge here can be applied to any project you may be working on. I appreciate you guys watching this video. The special promo code for this one is Venom20 to save 20% off your next order at Rejuvenator.com. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter to get notified for our upcoming deals on Black Friday. This is Vick Almighty. I'll catch you guys next Monday. See you guys.